Meghnad Shah joined IACS as in February 1956. Meghnad Shah died on the staircase of the Planning Commission while he was going to submit some papers for IACS. K. Banerjee became the director of IACS. Shukrendranath Bose joined IACS as the national professor in 1958.
Okay. আমি এখন
Everyone, I'm really very happy to welcome all my academic and non-academic colleagues, our dear research scholars, and a very special welcome to our dear guests, the students from different schools in and around Kolkata. As you all know, we are here to celebrate the Founders Day of IACS. Today, IACS steps into its 140th year, and to celebrate the occasion, we have planned a very exciting day ahead of us. So without wasting any further time, let's get started with the program. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the first speaker of the day. It is none other than our very own director, Professor Shantanu Bhattacharya. Professor Bhattacharya obtained his PhD from Rutgers University, and after a postdoc at MIT with Professor Khurana, he joined the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 1991. Since then, he has been a recipient of many distinctions like the Swarna Jayanti Fellowship and the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize, to name a few. He is a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Science, Indian Academy of Sciences, and the World Academy of Sciences. Professor Bhattacharya shares a deep passion about the development of science in India and is going to enlighten us with his views in his talk titled Evolution of Science Research and Education in India. With this, I would request Professor Bhattacharya to please come up on stage, and I request Nivedita, our research fellow, to please felicitate him. Professor Bhattacharya.
Thank you. Slides can be off. Thank you very much, Shamlata, for your kind words of introduction. I stand before you not only as a director, but also the youngest faculty member, not in terms of the age, but my residence time in this institute. So, I'm not a student of history. I will try to tell you a story based on my own reading. There could be omissions, but please forgive. In that process, if I omit some pertinent details about this institution, which I know far less than many of you. But I will try to tell you about the evolution of science, research, and education in India, which I think started from this institution, and I speak in front of you on its 141st anniversary of its birth. So if we look at, India is in the throes of new round of institution building. It is clear that many schemes that we see today may be conceived in committee rooms. The real challenge that remains in defining and realizing a vision, and anything we learn from the past. And I would like to bring to you two of the oldest institutions this country has produced, and that is IACS and IASC, the two sisters. How was the plan for creating these two institutions drawn up, and how successfully was it implemented in the early years? How did the bureaucracy of British India respond to an initiative that had no precedent? The answers to these questions are necessarily long and buried in the hundreds and indeed thousands of pages in the National Archives in Delhi. I have had some opportunity to read through that, and this is a culmination of that experience I'd like to share with you. As I told you, I'm no student or a teacher of history, but I have a deep weakness with history and for the temptation to retreat into the past in order to escape the pressures of the present has drawn my attention to the topics of my lecture today. It is this fondness for things of the past that has nudged me into thinking about the birth and growth of the great Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, IACS, which is continuing here beyond the 148th year of its existence. And I think the history of this institution is intimately linked with the story of the evolution of higher education, research and science and technology in India over the course of turbulent years of the 20th century. We know the British ruled India. We know the famous Bengal Renaissance and the awakening period. So it is a story that begins in the high noon of the British Empire and spans the entire period of the nationalist movement that culminated in independence of India. It is also a story of the birth and growth of the science and technology enterprise over nearly last 1.5 century in this country. It is a story that begins with an act of exceptional philanthropy, unprecedented for its vision, unmatched for its generosity in the years that have followed. So we must recount ourselves and put into the perspective of this great institution. The distinction as the country's first research institute in the modern era must be accorded to the Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, which was born in Calcutta in 1876, the brainchild of none other than Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar, ably supported by Father Lapo. So I think, picture is called 1,000 words. A movie is called 1 million words. In order to give you some idea and for the benefit of the younger audience, I would like to take you to a movie which I got from internet.
Ancient Indians were well versed in sciences. For various reasons, their successors could not uphold the legacy of their forefathers. In the early medieval era, people from the Islam-dominated world gradually overtook the Indians in their proficiency in sciences. From the mid-16th century, the Western world witnessed rapid developments in sciences through frequent innovations and discoveries. This was the result of a growing culture of experiment and research. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the harbinger of modern education in India, had strongly advocated the inclusion of Western sciences in the syllabi of schools and colleges. Following in his footsteps, Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar suggested that an underdeveloped country like India could only make progress through the cultivation of science.
To the present generation, devotee of science like Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar is quite a forgotten name. During the end of the 19th century, he was tremendously inclined towards medical scientific research work. He wanted that, like in other countries, there also should be a scientific research institution in our country also. For that, his tremendous hard work and selfless dedication in this particular field, he had made himself a pioneer of sorts, in fact. Actually, though he was not a scientist in fact, but he was the kind worshipper of science literally. Great result was that he created Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, which has given birth to many renowned scientists of the past and the present, and will keep on doing this good work. He was my great-great-grandfather.
Taking advantage of the cultural and intellectual awakening in 19th century Bengal, Mahendralal Sarkar founded the Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science that would be solely native and purely national. Its primary purpose was to foster high-quality fundamental research in the basic sciences. Mahendralal Sarkar was born in Munshirhat, Paitpara, a remote village in the district of Howrah, within then Bengal province, in the year 1833. father Ram Tarok and mother Aturmuni at a very tender age, he shifted to his maternal uncle's house in central Calcutta. He learnt elementary English in a local primary school and then was admitted to the school established by David Hare. After finishing school, Mahendralal took admission in Hindu College, where he studied natural philosophy, geometry, astrology, mathematics and science. But the facilities at the then Hindu College did not help him unravel the mysteries of science adequately. The vibrant atmosphere of the neighbouring Calcutta Medical College beckoned him, and he left the course at Hindu College unfinished to take admission in the Calcutta Medical College. Mahendralal successfully completed licentiate in medical sciences in 1860, and then he secured an MD degree in 1863. He was only the second person to acquire this distinction.
Dr. Mahendra Sarkar was an eminent student in this medical college, and he passed LMS in 1860, and after 3 years he obtained MD degree. He was actually the second MD degree holder from this medical college, and during his studentship he earned a lot of name and fame, which is very, very rare. And actually he obtained many prizes and scholarships during his studentship in this medical college. And I can tell you one story what I've heard. Once Professor Archer, Professor of Ophthalmology, he was teaching anatomy of eye amongst 5th year students in this medical college. And while Dr. Sarkar was a first year student and was waiting outside the lecture theatre, and he was hearing to what Professor Archer was teaching, and Professor Archer asked his 5th year students a question on anatomy of eye. Nobody from in the class could answer the question, but Dr. Sarkar, who was waiting outside as a first year student, immediately shouted and told the answer. And Professor Archer was astonished to see that he was a first year student waiting outside and listening to what he was teaching inside the class.
As a practicing physician, Mahendralal soon established himself as a leading exponent of allopathic treatment.
After passing, he became the first secretary of Bengal branch of British Medical Association, and then became the vice president of British Medical Association. And in the inaugural lecture, Dr. Sarkar criticized homeopathy like anything, but paradoxically, later he appreciated homeopathy as a cheaper form of medicine and ultimately started practicing homeopathy also.
For this, he was ostracized by the British Medical Association Calcutta chapter. His leading life